Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here's today's comic, New Mutants #1. Oh boy, I didn't really like this issue. I'll be upfront with you. Let's get into it. So this is written by Jonathan Hickman and Ed Brisson. Two of the probably best names as far as resume and credentials go, you know, on these Marvel X books. Hickman obviously coming off House of X and Powers of X, which was absolutely a phenomenal book. There were some things subjectively that I didn't like about how things were maybe portrayed or so forth, but that's really not a fault of the writing. That's just something, some people prefer apples, some people prefer oranges. It's one's not necessarily better than the other. It's just your tastes. But otherwise, the book was phenomenal. Fast forward now into Dawn of X, and I knew going into Dawn of X that it wasn't going to be the same level of awesome because there's just too much mediocre to crap talent recruited to do these books. And I feel like Marvel just decided, who cares? Like, let's just put, Teenie Howard on a book, Leia Williams on it. I mean, on X books. It's just like, what happened, man? This used to be like, X books used to be reserved for the all-star teams. But here we are into New Mutants. And I really did want to like this book. I just picked it up. It's the first one I read, even over X-Force. I had high hopes, even though I've never really been a New Mutants fan myself. I don't like the concept of New Mutants. It's just like, hey, we're kind of like the XMen, but we're kids, and we don't really get to do the missions that the XMen do because we're kids, and we don't really have the cool power sets because we were created with some. I mean, look, I know I'm probably gonna trigger some people here when I criticize these characters, but people like Cypher, Doug, what's your power? I can translate languages. Okay, look, I get that Cypher may be someone's favorite character out there, and that's fine. Like, that's a tribute to the writing and the character, but from a conceptual standpoint, if I'm an editor at Marvel Comics back in the day and you pitch me, I got this new character. Oh, really? Superpower? Yeah. Really? So what's he about? Well, he can translate any language. Yeah. And does he have like mental powers? Is that why he can No, he just understands languages. So he's a super linguist. Yeah. And you think this is what the kids want to read about? Oh yeah, he'll be real exciting. It's like, New Mutants was like that for me. There were some interesting characters that I did actually like. I liked Warlock, might have been one of my favorites. And guess which one didn't last? It was Warlock. Okay, starting off. Krakoa. Now, as you can see here on this beautiful frame, just the art is gorgeous. It's not a high fidelity level of artwork that some people maybe appreciate or want in a comic book, and I can understand that. But this is like almost a painting I would hang up on my wall. It's great. And I like that it has a Bill Sienkiewicz kind of quality to the style, because he's, kind of known for his New Mutant stuff. And so there was kind of a nice throwback there. And here we start off with one of the pods, or eggs. I like to call them pods, because I think the X-Men are pod people. It's cracking open, and Professor Xavier. This is the world, Rain Sinclair. You have returned to it. Welcome back, little sister. And Rain hatches from the egg. It's just the way this is portrayed as like all normal is so bizarro to me. Like, it's creepy. Like, they really are pod people, literally and figuratively. And it's almost like Hickman is like hammering it home here. And that's one of the things I can kind of forgive some of the concepts that are being shown in these books, is because this is a tool, by my interpretation, if I'm reading this right, where the writer is telling the audience, I understand this is weird. Like, it's supposed to be weird by design. You are supposed to interpret it this way. Let me reinforce it with these scenes. You have been born again, continues Aurora, a mutant in all your glory. Krakoan. She kisses her on the forehead. Everything that brought you here, all the things that made you a prisoner of past sins, they are gone, for good and forever. So let the past go and live. And then we just see Rain. Oh, look how quaint. She's just so happy. She's so blissful in heaven. Little pod girl. What are you grinning at? Ah, Shan. Just look at this place. It's like I died and went to heaven. Well, not to put a fine point on it, kiddo, but you kinda did. I'm sure some would say take a gift for what it is, but truly heavy stuff has a way of sticking around. Experiences like that tend themselves to broader questions of self, faith, and fate, things that are tough to ignore. Oh, I'm reading the wrong voice. I hate when I do that. I do that a lot. And it's weird when I'm not reading out loud. I don't really do it as much, but when I'm reading back, and even though I read the book before, but I don't remember. Like, I don't set my memory to each word bubble. We can talk about it if you want. Know what? I don't think I need to. I'm good. I really am. Oh, look, it's just so quaint. It doesn't look at his face. Who does that look like? Does that not look like what's her face from Game of Thrones? Little girl. And then we get the famous white pages that has now become an X trope. Thanks, Jonathan Hickman. Now we're going to have every X book going forward forever and ever. It seems like have these white pages, regardless of how important or necessary they are. Not that new. They're young, sure, but they've been around the block a few times. Then came Krakoa, and since the whole world turned upside down, everything looks different for the New Mutants. And here's the New Mutants. Now, I want to kind of point out, each and every one of these New Mutants here, with the exception of possibly Mondo and Chamber, who I'm not super familiar with, they're all older than Kitty Pryde. You know, Kitty Pryde, leader of XMen. Remember her? The New Mutants are all older than the leader. I just want to point that out there. But, you know, we're going to keep them forever young, I guess. We're not going to really pay attention to continuity, schmontinuity. Issue 1, The Sextant. Here's the credits. Rod Rice is the artist here. I'm not super familiar, but he seems to work for this book. I think he would work for a non-superhero book. I could really see him doing a Vertigo book. May Vertigo rest in peace. And we see him, Cypher, talking to him here. Talk to me, big guy. Anything? And Doug Ramsey is, I guess, trying to use Mondo to talk to the island. He's like, tell me what I'm looking for. Krakoa's sentient. So I was thinking that because of the way your powers work, when you absorb part of the island, you might be able to feel it, sense it, or communicate in some other way. I don't know, Mondo, something. Doug, I am seriously a Zen person, sensitive in all the ways that matter, but it's just me in here. I got nothing. So are we done? One last thing. You give it a try. Doug looks at the island. I guess the facial representation of the island. He's talking to Krakoa. And then all of a sudden, is like possessed like a zombie. Hello, Douglas Aaron Ramsey. Well, I'm never going to sleep again. He got this face in his belly. That looked pretty creepy. That would be unfortunate. You need your sleep, Douglas Aaron Ramsey. Yeah, sure. That's true. Thanks. So how does this work? Are you like a remote piloting his body? So he's talking to Krakoa through this body, which is all meaningless because Douglas can talk to Krakoa directly. And then we see that Mondo is in the place that 11 goes when she's, from Stranger Things, I guess. He's just in this dark void. He's like, hello? Should we try to figure this out? And Krakoa responds, no, Douglas Aaron Ramsey, this is a bad thing. I don't like it very much, and now it's over. All right, sorry. And then Krakoa leaves. So I didn't really get the point of this exercise here. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It does seem a little creepy in what's going on here. So the only thing that I might be able to interpret is that the author is trying to communicate that there's something shady about Krakoa. But then that confuses me as well, because if Krakoa is kind of shady, why does it volunteer to even do this at all? I don't know. But I'm kind of hoping that way. I'm really kind of hoping that Krakoa is not completely benevolent and that it has this agenda and it's using these X-Men. It's growing these pod people. We'll see how this goes. I can't foresee this whole pod thing going on forever. Is that the way mutants are going to be now? They're literally going to just be pod people. And that's just going to be... It's not going to be like a plot line. It's not going to be something to explore. It's going to literally just be what mutants are now, or pod people. I just can't see that being the case. It's this... But I could be wrong. It's Marvel, after all. The Academos habitat, the Sextant. And so we see, I guess, Doug and Mondo going back and or no, it's not Doug and Mondo. Who is it? Oh, these two. It was Sunspot and Danny Moondragon? Moon? I can't remember all the mutants' names off the top of my head. And so they're just talking about nonsense. None of this seemed like was really sort of important. This is just a weird babble about, the XMen name, and Charles Xavier couldn't afford the marketing on it, and just goofy stuff. It's trying to be really just sort of... It's kind of being Bendis-y, to be honest. Let's see. So finally, after that, there were enough of us that could begin the real community, which is where we came in, and the schools, which also where it failed. As human ideologies and institutions, they were never built for human ideologies and institutions were never built for something better. I don't know if anyone has ever told you this today or not, Danny, but you're an amazing woman, and you deserved better. Likewise, Roberto, and you are all man. Nonsense. I'm all mutant, lady. You can't stick this in a people farm and expect to get an accountant on the other side. She says. Like, I had trouble even reading this. Like, it's just... This dialogue is really kind of off-putting and self-impressed, and it's just... It feels like older guys trying to write Millennials, and it didn't work for me. So here we are in the 6th generation of Homo Superior, trying something new. A mutant sextant. Right, but let's call it what it is. Home. Oh my god, that smell. Is it? Yes, it is. Sink and Monet talked that new kid Fauna into seeing precisely what would grow in these fertile soils of our new land. And it turns out that the little green thumb genius has produced a coffee bean that they swear is 1 part innocence and 1 part sincerity. Chamber bought us some because he's both generous and a gentleman. Well, I can't drink it, but damn do I love the smell. Sounds awesome. Pour us a cup, Ilyana. This is mine, and it's empty. Glutor. Oh, come on, just give me a... Don't make me cut you. Do you see what I'm saying? This is something that is like, oh, it's so youthful. It's so 20s something kids. This is that sort of sitcom wannabe kind of humor that Bendis is always so guilty of. It's not quite to the level, but here the artist as well is getting in on the action, and just look at the expressions on these kids' faces. Do these people look like superheroes, or do they look like a bunch of kids standing around wearing costumes? Look at them, they're just drinking their coffee. Oh, it's so precious. And and look, the gang's all here. Oh, nice, thank you. Mondo? Is that the stuff the new green kid grew? Yes. Oh, pass. I saw how that was made. Cue the laugh track. With sincerity, with innocence. Take a moment and just look at this. This is a frame of an X-Men comic. Or an X book. Yay. I'm so excited. Not what I would call it. Not how it smelled. Cue laugh track. Heh, this is fun. It is. It's almost perfect. Now you're going to tell me what would make it perfect if Sam was here with us, right? He should see this. He'd love it more than anyone. Look at this cut and paste face. Yeah, problem is, he's several hundred thousand light years away, Bobby, with his family in Shi'ar space. That's true. Look at these two panels, and then they just stare at the camera. Hey, Danny. Yeah? Want to go for a ride? Groan. So at this point, they're on the Starjammer, and the Starjammers are giving a lift. And so, my son said you kids need a lift. Well, I don't have to tell you that we and the Shi'ar have a complicated history, and I'm likely putting my crew in danger by entering Shi'ar space. Okay, but Cyclops said that after your visit to Earth, that's exactly where you were headed. Of course we are. We're pirates, son. We laugh at danger. Ain't that right, baby? Absolutely. The smile on my face, can't you see it? Cue laugh track. Now, the Starjammers were the best part of this book. They made me, when I was reading this, go, I want to read the Starjammers. Can we get rid of these New Mutants? Can we drop them off on a planet somewhere? And so the book continues, and they made a comment somewhere along the line how big the ship is, which it's not really. But apparently, another thing they make a comment is how it looks bigger. It's bigger on the inside than it looks, it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. One of those things. And look at this habitat in here. This is ginormous. It's like a stadium. Are they on the Starship Enterprise? Like, how big is this Starjammer ship? Anyways, so they've got a Krakoan gateway, of course, and they're wanting they brought this planet with them because wherever they're going, they want to be able to plan it so they can get back home. So Hickman can't seem to make up his mind. It seems like Krakoa can make gateways wherever. Like, it can just plant one in Russia on the docks from Marauders, and just it appears, and the Russians don't do anything about it. It can make one in Otherworld, or in Excalibur. It can in the pool, the scrying pool that Morgan Le Fay uses. I don't think anyone went there and put it, like, does it need someone to carry the seed? I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's any real understanding or thought out, which seems weird because Hickman seems like the guy who plans out everything. Look at this panel here with Cypher. Remember the Cypher I was describing earlier about conceptually, like, oh, what's this kid do? Apparently he just cowers there and holds a flower. Is this what kids really want to read today? Like, this would have, when I was 13 years old, if I would have read this, I would have just been making fun of this. Like, how stupid and lame this was. I wanted to see badass X-Men whooping ass. I didn't want to see this, whatever this is. So Chad is all upset because his habitat is getting ruined, and it turns out the Krakoan flowers are trying to terraform shit, which is mildly interesting. You get to know about, the flowers. But then he says here, look here, do you see these dead pomum? They're a delicacy from my home planet that only ripen once a decade. It took me years to get to this environment just right so they would grow here, and this was going to be the first time they were ready for harvest. Now they are dying. I'm sorry? Yeah, that sucks. Either that plant goes through the gateway, out the airlock, or you do. Oh, wait, I have an idea. Open up. But if we ditch the plant, we won't be able to get back home from the Shi'ar throne world. And so he opens up his belly and they stuff the plant in there, and apparently they can seal it in. And he says, did that do it? Yes. I'm not picking up anything now, which is good, but that doesn't make me happy. There, and oh, look, grumpy Chod. And then several days later, they're in space, and Magik is fighting... what's this guy's? I forget his name. Stand down, demon woman. Demon woman? You spit those words as if they're an insult. And he shaves her bangs with this, narrowly missed sword strike. They aren't. She kicks him in the face. I'll have you spitting teeth soon enough, child. Not too late to back out of our bet, Corsair. I bet it's hard to find Kentucky bourbon in space. Sure, the good stuff is pretty much irreplaceable out here, but I'm not losing the bet. It's not irreplaceable. You literally have a gate that you can walk through and be on Earth in a nanosecond. It's not irreplaceable. Oh my gosh. Beating Magik won't be a problem. I've seen Raza best 10 men with nothing more than morning breath and an old spoon. So here's Corsair, wizened old man, who has seen all sorts of things all over the galaxy, seen some of the toughest individuals, knows that Raza is a masterclass swordsman, which instantly, as I was reading this, I was like, oh, that just means Magik's going to kick his ass because, of course, girl power. And look, it's like, yoo-hoo, look at the... God, these just... A bunch of rambunctious teens is all they look like. And their witty dialogue. Raza hits her in the face with the guard on the hilt of the sword, which, of course... Oh, no, it's feminist rage! And she charges, chops through his sword, and chops his arm off. You cut off my arm. Oh, don't be a baby. It's just a robot arm. This is my actual nose. Now say you're sorry. Oh, you were right, Corsair. It was quite a show. A show sponsored by Kentucky Bourbon. Hey, you know what's good for morning breath? Roberto. Bourbon. Cue laugh track. It's just, this book is too cutesy for words. Now, they get to this space station called Benevolence. One day later, on the edge of Shi'ar space, I gotta tell you, this does not look like a nice place. Really? It looks like a space station. How can you tell it doesn't look like a nice place? Have you ever seen a space station before? It just looks like a place where ships dock. What about it doesn't look like a nice place? I don't know. Then we get Corsair responding, if you ever wondered what the ass end of a space empire looks like, well, here's your answer. Fortunately, we're just making a little pit stop. This seemed like a really weak attempt to recreate the whole Mos Eisley thing and Corsair be the Han Solo and Sunspot be the Luke Skywalker. So he says, we're going to set up some ground rules. Meanwhile, here's a white page, by the way, and Starjammers are wanted, in case you didn't know. Benevolence is a bad place. Here's a white page. Oh, and by the way, there's this thing called a king egg. It's really dangerous. It's from the brood. You should not remove it, no matter what. Foreshadowing, guess what's going to happen? Okay, listen close. I don't want to repeat myself. Me and the rest of the crew have some business here. What sort of business? Pirate business. And while we're conducting our business, everyone is to stay aboard this ship. I didn't want to. We've been on the ship for days. I want to stretch me legs. Rain's right. I'm getting cabin fever. If you lot are going out and about, then it's only right we take a poke about as well. At this point, I literally wanted to shoot these kids. You just got a ride from this guy. He's doing you a favor, right? Show a modicum of respect to him, to his wishes, regardless if you even are in the right. That you should be able to stretch your legs. Okay, have a little bit of dignity, a little bit of class, a little bit of manners, a little bit of politeness, social etiquette, whatever you want to call it, and be like, you know what? We'll respect your wishes. I don't like it. We should be able, but you gave us a ride. Thank you very much. Nope. This is pure modern millennial trophy generation entitlement attitude from these kids. Like, basically they're like, F you. We're not going to listen to what you have to say, Pops. We're going out there. And he says, look, there's nothing for you outside the ship. What's the worst thing you can imagine? Judgy fundamentalists? Yes, that's what she said. That's the worst thing she can imagine. Judgy fundamentalists. I'm going to give you some time to pull the palm off your face. People with 4 arms. Oh God, it's so grown. I swear, did they call Bendis in for a consult? Well, do I have bad news for you, says Corsair. This spaceport is now owned by Nuabika, a real nasty group. Blah, blah, blah. They're so awful. The Nuabika hate sinners, and their list of unforgivable sins is about as long as any criminal record. You pretty much can't sneeze without offending them. You commit one sin, and like I said, it's nearly impossible not to. You go to prison. You get tortured, needles under your fingernails, hot spikes under your unmentionables, and so on. It's very unpleasant. He compares this guy. He makes a statement. Says, dude makes the Pope look like a pentagram-worshipping heathen. So the dude's Jesus? Like, I don't understand the dialogue here. If the Pope looks so bad, that's basically you're saying this guy is so good that the Pope, by comparison, looks like this awful thing. You can't say like this guy's so awful that the Pope looks bad. That doesn't even make sense. Whatever. If they're so bad, why do you do business with them? We don't. We do business under their nose. Again, look at this attitude. It's a bunch of entitled kids that aren't gonna. So Sunspot tries to take the lead and says, all right, no, you heard the rules, nobody leaves. So the one kid that has respect, and the rest of them are like, whatever, dude, we're so leaving. Magik, can you follow him? Yep, let's go. They teleport. And they tricked him, by the way, because they don't respect their own leader. So they're like, yeah, go get that bourbon. We'll go drink it. And when he comes back with it, they're gone. He's like, I should have seen that coming. Cue laugh track. Huh? Not quite what I was expecting. Careful, we don't know what that is. Sure ain't a 4-armed preacher. So literally they go into the station and they just see something there. And what's their first instinct? Let's go steal it. Is this the Kitty Pryde school of Xavier's school of like thievery? Like what? I can't even spit out the words because in Marauders that was the opening of that book. She steals a boat. So apparently here they're stealing an egg, which is the king egg. Super dangerous, but they don't care. They just do what they want. It's pretty, though. Put that down. Huh? And the Starjammers show up. Step away from the containment unit slowly. You should listen, children. You are messing with things beyond your mortal kin. Again, like these guys, this is who I want to read about. These guys are badass. Hey, look, it's the one-armed preacher. Exactly what's going on here, Corsair. This place is not what you told us. Look at this face. I like Magik a lot. She's like my favorite New Mutant. And she's just like this little entitled prissy bitch in this book. You mean, where are the fringe cultists and all the subjugated people? So, yeah, Corsair lied. This is a containment facility for exotic matter, you idiots, and we're pirates. Why else would we be here except to steal stuff? Now let's go. Okay, now, I just got done criticizing the New Mutants for stealing and everything like that, but the New Mutants aren't pirates, right? You see the difference? Like, Starjammers are pirates. They're sort of Marvel's equivalent to Firefly, or actually Firefly is sort of a creation of these guys, but whatever. Be that as it may, they are miscreants. They're scoundrels. I don't look up to them. I don't want to read stories about them because I think they're heroes or whatever. I want to see just adventures. It doesn't justify what they're doing, but from a writing standpoint, excuse it, the New Mutants are supposed to be following Charles Xavier's dream. They're supposed to be fighting, for a better world, saving people, all that stuff. Here, they're just a bunch of entitled teens that apparently think they can just take whatever they want. And so they got to run because, the alarms are tripped or whatever. That makes this even worse, right? Yeah, Bobby was right. Let's not tell him when we get back to the ship. And let's lock these losers out before, and they get zapped. So she gets shot, but apparently it doesn't kill her, it just knocks her out. Because, thank God, it's just convenient. Take cover! Get behind the generator! So meanwhile, the Starjammers are like, we're cut off. What do we do? We don't have time to get caught. We're expected on Peshore Prime in days. They wanted to save someone. Let them save themselves. We're trapped. Shan, can you? I'm trying, but those helmets they're wearing, they must be shielded. I'm not getting through to any of them. Well, I guess it's all out of subtle solutions, Jono. Yeah, I got it. Time for a not-so-subtle solution. So we see him start to use his power. And do we get to actually see an action scene? Nope. Cut. Right before the action. Cut. This is comic books. We can't have action in our comic books. So the Starjammers get back to the ship. And Sunspot's like, yo, what's up? Where's your teammates? Of course, there's like, bad news, kid. Your teammates are in some deep shit. And we're leaving them. We have to haul ass. And he's like, you can't just leave them. He's like, one, there's no we. And two, yes, we can leave them, and we are. And then look at this pouty face. Oh, it's so precious. This reminds me, there's this kid. I don't know if you've heard about him. He just got banned for life on Fortnite. Apparently he's like got millions of subscribers, but he was caught like promoting aimbots. I forget his name. And he looks just like this. He just made a recent video where he's like crying on the internet, apologizing because, he's losing his entire, I guess he makes like $50,000 a month on video. Like he's big time, in that scene. And Fortnite's like, nope, banned for life. And now he's crying. 17-year-old kid. It looks just like this. Just like, oh, why would you do that? What have any of us done to deserve it? Just like that kid. Why am I banned? And all these other millennials are like crying. Oh, reinstate him. He's, he didn't do anything bad. Yes, he did. He promoted cheating in the game and to millions of subscribers. And then the Starjammers respond, you people ruined my plants. The angry girl cut off my arm. Like children, I do not. And you stole my whiskey. So this is sort of funny, but this is a reason to leave them all to die. Actually, you lost that fair and square. Corsair just looks at him like, oh my God, is this comic? This is my face reading this comic. Is this still going on? And he's like, and now you've lost a ride. And I'm like, and now you've lost a reader. He says, I said I'd get you to Shi'ar space. Well, son, welcome to the Empire. Now get off my ship. Sigh. And he starts swigging it down. At least the New Mutants, unlike Kitty Pryde, are drinking age. So I guess it's not promoting, delinquency of a minor like Kitty Pryde does. But whatever. Is this where I save the day? It feels like it, doesn't it? Who's he talking to? Who? Oh, it's us, the audience. Oh God, that's just. And then we see the New Mutants surrounded. Now I want to remind you, the X-Men were able to take on the Imperial Guard. The Imperial Guard are essentially the Justice League, right? They are the most badass. They're probably tougher than the Avengers. And the X-Men have been able to take them on. The New Mutants go down like a sack of potatoes to some rank and file shock troopers on the station, just instantly. And again, as a reader, I'm supposed to be impressed with these guys and just, okay. They just fold. Then we get this legal trouble space lawyer. I didn't read in the book, but multiple times Sunspot makes a comment about space lawyers. I know a really good space lawyer. But there was so much in this book to cover. Even the stuff I skipped. I mean, even as long as this video is, I skipped a ton. But it wasn't good stuff. It's just nonsense. And I apologize for the length of this video if you made it this far. By the way, this is the end. That's it. That's all that happened. I honestly felt like I was reading a Brian Michael Bendis book. If you like Brian Michael Bendis, if you are the person who's liking Superman right now, if you like Legion of Super Nothings, you probably will love this book. It is all self-referential. It's all tee-hee-hee. Look at us teens with attitude, self-entitlement. I saw a comment on one of Wes's streams. One of the users called it Millennials in Space. And that's what this book should be called. Millennials in Space. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way to all people of this generation. Someone else made that comment too about like we're not. When I say millennials in space, I mean the quintessential, stereotypical, self-entitled hipster millennials. Not everyone who happens to be 20 years old. Okay, it's not a broad-reaching insult. I think even a lot of millennials with good heads on their shoulder, do the face palm and just go, "Oh my God, my generation! What generation am I in?" This book was not for me. It wasn't overtly political, but it was overtly distasteful, and it was boring. And these characters, I just disliked them all, other than the Starjammers. I thought they were okay for the most part, but the New Mutants, the titular characters, just annoying. I just wanted to see them get slaughtered. And that's not what you're supposed to want in a book. I picked this one up thinking I can't miss this. It's Hickman. It's Ed Brisson taking over. This might be my least favorite. Not because it was, maybe it is the least well written. I think a lot of people are giving this book a pass because it has Hickman's name on it. I'm going to be truthful to you. I don't know what Hickman did. I don't think this is not the guy who wrote House of X and Powers of X. And I'm not going to give this book a pass because of Hickman's name on it, or because Ed Brisson has got some goodwill based on what his past stuff is. No, this is childish. It's immature. It's not really compelling story. It's Friends. It's an episodes of Friends. Thanks for watching.